Welcome back. To get started with the settings, let's start by clicking on Site Options, where we can change essentials such as the site title, the logo, the favicon, and a couple of other things. To change the logo, just click on Upload to open up your media library. Then you can select your logo image from your local computer. In this case, I just selected a number of images because we're going to have to change the favicon as well. One thing important to note is the actual size of the image, because in order to be retina ready, you are advised to basically use half of the size of the actual image so that it looks sharp on retina displays. Now let's do the same for the favicon. And as for the SEO options, these are the meta title and the meta description are very useful when somebody searches for your website on search engines such as Google, and there are some rules as to how long these should be and how well they should be quite keyword rich and all that stuff. So essentially I recommend that you use something like the SERP simulator to write these down as we did right here, and make sure that everything fits snugly and looks good. Now we can just copy this text and just paste it back into our admin, and then we're ready to move on. Obviously you'd like to track your site, so you can just paste your Google Analytics code right here, and then we're pretty set as far as the site options go. So let's see our changes. Our logo has changed, that's cool. Let's see, okay, so also the favicon is done. Let's check out the source code and see our meta description and title. These have been updated as well. So that's beautiful. So let's move on now to our loader. This section controls the loader alone, so you can control whether you'd like to show a logo on the loading screen or not. You can choose a custom logo, which is different than your own logo. So we could try this, but let's just set it back to default for now. We can choose whether to animate the page when it's loaded, and we can also control the loading animation color. So those bubbles that you see while we load, those would be changed by this control. The little slide bar down there controls the opacity, and so essentially you have full control over color and opacity, which is quite cool. And this controls the actual background color of the loading screen. So let's start theming it a little bit. One extra option is the fact that we can have a gradient background instead of a flat color one. So that could provide some quite interesting results. And you can pick your initial color as well as your end color. And you can also pick your loader gradient angle, which we'll see in a second here. So straight away we see our options have been applied. The loader animation color as well as the loader background color have been changed, and we see the gradient applied as well. I'm quite happy with that. So let's move on and try the navigation settings. First thing we have to set up is whether we should use hash URLs or not. Hash URLs are essentially characters that are being added for each one of your pages. So when you click on them, it generates a custom URL specifically for that page, so that it can get accessed just by typing in that URL. So it opens up on that page. You typically want to leave that on, but it's good to have the option. Next, you can change the navigation type between 3D navigation and one-page navigation. Now that we've switched, you'll notice that the content, the actual pages, are on top of one another instead of being separate, and the animation is scrolling instead of 3D. So let's go back. We'll show you a lot more of the layout options perhaps later on, and you can obtain tons of different layouts because you can choose the position, alignment, and orientation of the nav, and that allows for a lot of flexibility. In addition, as you can see, you can also change the style, even specifically for tablet or mobile. And you can also turn on and off responsive navigation as well as adaptive navigation, which is a bit experimental. At the bottom, we can change the navigation bar color. So if you want, you can always have a background for the navigation, and you can also change the color for mobile view as well, which is quite handy. There's quite a few other options we'll go through, but let's see our changes. So right away you'll see the menu is completely different. Everything is on the left, and our labels show on hover. It also has a background. So we won't go much deeper into the subject, but enough said. There's plenty of layouts and looks you can try on your own. For now, let's reset this section and show you how that works. So once we click on Reset Section, all the default values for that particular page will be loaded. None of the other values will be changed though. So right now we see that we are right back to stock navigation. Next, let's touch upon the footer navigation. So first thing we can control is whether we want to display the footer or not. So let's set that to off and see what happens. And right now we see that we no longer display the social links that we had previously. You can also control where your footer is visible, whether you want to show it only on desktop mobile devices or on all devices. You can also control the footer size, its layout and alignment, as well as orientation, same as with the navigation. In addition, you can also choose a footer background color if you want a background to be displayed beneath the footer, and you can control this separately for mobile. Now let's try out our changes. And right away we'll see that the footer is aligned to the left and the icons are smaller. We'll stop here with the customization, as we'll further customize it later on. But this is how the loader settings work. And now it's time to move on to background settings. So I'll see you soon.